from the heart of America in Chicago, Illinois. It's time for Roker Radio with Al Roker Jr. And now, Al Roker Jr.
How you doing, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Roker Radio. Al Roker Jr. We are fast approaching the nation's unofficial holiday, which is Super Bowl Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. Ah, yes. It is a big day for the NFL, and it is a big day for gambling. This is gambling season right now when you got the Super Bowl, and then you follow it up with March Madness in about 6 weeks or so. So before you place that bet on Super Bowl Sunday, you're going to want to listen to this edition of Roker Radio. Joining me from the East Coast is Kevin Gootee. He's the host of Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber, where they break down NFL fantasy sports every week and also give you their top picks of the week. He is also the host of Amazon's Comics, Watching Comics, and he is quickly becoming a go-to guy. Gootee is my go-to guy. Kevin Gootee, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, I love being the go-to guy. That makes me feel special, especially when people want to make a little bit of money.
There you go.
If you were following me yesterday, I had a slow start to the playoffs. I don't know the last time we spoke. I think I had a rough. I was 1-2 the first week of the playoffs. Second week I was 2-2. Yesterday, including props, 6-0.
Oh, so, wow! I should have talked to you.
Monster week. I know. I had a great run, so I'm happy. But, yeah, it's Super Bowl time. Like you had mentioned, a million things to bet on, and I can't wait. It's going to be a blast.
Well, before we talk about the Super Bowl and, yes, how I've been playing catch-up ever since week one of the playoffs, tell us about Comics Watching Comics, if people haven't seen it.
Yeah, Comics Watching Comics. Glad to. It's a show on Amazon Prime where you can you see, it's a mix of comics. It's a mix of It's Last Comic Standing. Last Comic Standing and Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's a reality show where we kind of pull the curtain back on comedy and show people what comedians and how we think and act and kind of just bust balls with each other behind the scenes of the show. And we give these other intermediate comics a chance. We watch footage that they've from a show they've done. We critique their footage, praise, offer advice, and if they're terrible, then we give them the business. But then we pick a winner at the end of each season, and a winner performs at a showcase at the end of the 3 or 4 seasons we did, and then we did a showcase. So that's Comics Watching Comics on Amazon Video. If you like stand-up comedy, if you like kind of panel shows, you're gonna love this.
There you go. Who is Kevin Gootee paying to go see right now? Who are some of your must-see comics right now?
I always say David Tell without question. David Tell is far and away number one in my book. David Tell is doing it. He's so under the radar. He should be the guy getting these multi-city stadium deals and such. He's not, but he's a comics comic. You ask any comics who the best working comic is, it's David Tell 9 times out of 10. I would also say Chappelle. He's been, ever since his resurgence, he's been killing it with the specials. Another guy who's under the radar, D.L. Hughley. He's fantastic as well. So give those fellows a look.
Well, David Tell, I got a buddy of mine, Corey, who I'm sure is listening right now. He lives in Philadelphia, so he's always going to New York, and I'm always getting texts from him that he's going to, what's the comedy store in New York that it's
Comedy Cellar? The
Comedy Cellar. It's like, I ran into David Tell at the Comedy Cellar, or blah, blah, blah. He's always very excited about that. And
yeah, if you run around the street, he's one of the nicest people you could ever see. Always says hi, always says a kind word.
That's awesome. And then, Chappelle, those Netflix specials of his they've just raised the bar. It's crazy. I don't know if you saw, did you happen to catch the David Tell getting the Mark Twain Award on PBS?
David Tell got a Mark Twain Award?
I know. Tell me about it. That stopped me in my tracks. I was just turning it on to watch, Antiques Roadshow. And there was Dave Chappelle getting the Mark Twain Award. I'm sure it's probably still airing. You'll have to give a look out for it.
That's bonkers, but he deserves it. No argument here.
He absolutely deserves it. And D.L. Hughley has been one of my favorite comedians for years and years. He always has a very unique outlet. He kind of like Chappelle in a way. I mean, he sees things through a different lens, and he's absolutely hysterical.
So under the radar. I know he was big with Kings of Comedy when that was out, 20 years ago, I think that was.
Right.
Was that 2000?
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, that was great, but he's been popping out specials every few years that are just so solid. He does not get, I think, that mainstream love that a lot of other people get, but he definitely deserves it. There's no doubt about it.
He's great. Those are great choices. Now, I want to, before we start talking about the Super Bowl, I want to, pick your brain on a few other things in the sports world, if you'll allow me to.
By all means.
And you're on the East Coast, so you're getting a real good look at this. The current baseball scandal, the cheating scandal, the sign stealing scandal, which is already taken 3 managers and a GM, the manager of the Astros, the GM of the Astros, and now the manager of the Red Sox, and the manager of the Mets. First of all, your thoughts on the entire cheating scandal, and secondly, is this just the tip of the iceberg?
I think it unfortunately is the end all be all. I think they should have these championships removed. Now, I'm a Yankee fan, so to be upfront with you guys, this could not happen to a better bunch of people. The Astros and the Red Sox specifically, especially the Red Sox. They can all sink in a ship for all I care.
I had a feeling you'd say that. Yeah.
Houston stuck it to us twice, and I was at at least 2 of the playoff games, one in 17 and one in 19. The Yankees smoked them at Yankee Stadium, especially in 17. The Yankees destroyed them in the Bronx. When they got to Houston, man, they just couldn't hit a lick, and boy, they got hit. Now that the sign things came out there, and if you look at the splits, specifically Altuve is hitting like 390 at home and like 180 on the road. He's double his average, home versus away. It's mind blowing. I think I'd love for them to strip the titles. I wish the MLB Players Union is so strong. There's no way they could go after these guys because the union is so tough. Excuse me.
Right.
This is the NFL. These guys would be suspended. I would love for all those guys to be suspended for at least a year. Altuve, Bregman, Correa, Springer, those guys, suspensions all around. If they've been proven to do so. We know Altuve is one of them. But all those guys, really. Which makes me, as a Yankee fan, even happier. Listen, Houston they'll still be good. I think this is going to really knock them on their ass because everyone's going to be watching them. It's going to weigh in on them. And the Yankees are so much better now with Garrett Cole at the top of the rotation. Boston was going to finish 3rd anyway, but I don't care. They should be finishing last because of my hatred for that team. They're going to be in trouble anyway. But, yeah, I think they should have done more. They just can't. It's huge that they knocked out Eric Hinch, who's a great manager, and their GM. Losing 2 draft picks, also very big as well. I know with baseball it doesn't affect you near as much as football. If you lose your top 2 picks, you'd be out of commission for, 7 years.
Oh, it's almost like it's like the death penalty. If it were the NFL, it would be a death penalty.
Exactly. And baseball, it's all right. I mean, the reason why Houston got so good was because they stunk for so long, and they were able to get these, the Altuve, the Springer, and the Correa picks in there. At least right now, they're in the middle of things. But I wish they'd throw the book out of more, but they won't. That's the problem. But this is a nice start to show that Manfred's not screwing around here.
Well, Major League Baseball always seems to try and shoot itself in the foot every 20 years or so. If we were talking about teams that ended up 74-94, something like that, this would just kind of be a bit of a blip on the radar. But to have a team win the World Series for the first time, and then it's found out that, they're cheating, they're stealing signs, and then the guy who was at the head of the stealing signs controversy goes on to become the manager of the Red Sox, and in his first year as Red Sox manager, they go on and win the World Series.
Right, with the eye watches.
I mean, you can't. I mean, you're right. they should be able to do more, but that players union is so strong they're not going to be able to do any more. But I mean, boy, how'd you like to be the Dodgers right now?
I mean, it's funny. It's funny because again, as a Yankee fan, we have very little sympathy from non-Yankee fans. People now are like, "Oh man, if you're a Dodgers fan, you're in the same boat." However, I dare say, if there was the Yankees and the Dodgers that year, there's no way the Dodgers beat the Yankees. I'm sorry, but yeah, they got screwed. We got screwed. So yeah, listen, feel bad for us, but we're gonna go out there and take what's ours, which should be ours this year. Yeah, what a shocker. This is probably as big as a blight on MLB. I mean, it's obviously the Black Sox scandal is one, and this is a little bit more distant, but number two nonetheless.
Right. Well, and you've got the steroids, and do you think that maybe more?
Oh my God! Of course, yeah.
Right.
I forgot. How did I forget steroids?
How do you forget steroids?
2, this is 3.
Well, and the thing is, the whole steroids thing broke because, in my opinion, and I've interviewed Jose Canseco, but in my opinion, if you recall when Jose Canseco retired, he had something like 488, 490 career home runs. I mean, he was this close to being in the 500 home run club. And at the time, there was no one who was in the 500 home run club that wasn't in the Hall of Fame. So he didn't get that opportunity. And I think that he just said, you know what, I'm just going to scorch the earth with this. I'm just going to go out and I'm just going to lay it all out. And I'm going to talk about steroids and how prevalent it is. And that's my opinion. That's why I think he went public with it. Is it going to take...
I read his book. That's exactly what it was in there. And another guy not in the Hall of Fame with 500 home runs as well as 3,000 hits,
Rafael Palmeiro.
Absolute shame. But until they start letting these guys in, I mean, that's those two numbers right there are enough to get you in, especially both of them, please. But yeah, he was angry, and he goes, I just want a chance to hit my 500th, and no one gave him that. He says, you're exactly right. Scorched earth policy, that's exactly the way to put it. And he said, that's it. I'm naming names, and that's the end of this.
And I don't understand. I always thought that it would be great for Nike to start a sports Hall of Fame, and they could immediately induct Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Pete Rose, people of those natures, because you can't, yes, I understand, it's a punishment. I get it. You can't have a Hall of Fame. You can't have a baseball Hall of Fame without Pete Rose being in the Hall of Fame. You can't have a baseball Hall of Fame without Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds being in the baseball Hall of Fame. You just can't do it.
100% agree.
So,
Palmeiro, all these other guys too. Absolutely, McGuire, Sosa. I mean, it's the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, I agree. It's tough. I mean, Bagwell, you might want to consider as well.
So I always thought Nike should have their own little Hall of Fame, and then they can put all the disenfranchised members of the sports world in there, as long as as well as the Michael Jordans of the world. Do you think that there's going to be someone else in Major League Baseball who's going to feel slighted and just go with that scorched earth policy and then just drop dime on other organizations?
I think someone already named Mike Trout because he takes HGH for his thyroid. So it's already out there. The question is there somebody else that's on the cusp that you're asking who is going to be, not as part of the Hall of Fame and do the same? I don't know. Maybe when the Astros, when it comes time to them, like the Altuves or the Bregmans, if they don't get in because of this, they might say blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you caught this either, but Jack McDowell said Tony La Russa years ago when he's manager of the White Sox tried doing the same exact thing. So that's a little fun fact for you, too.
Well, I mean, cheating is pretty prevalent in baseball. It's usually not as bold as hitting a frickin' garbage can,
right?
To give them a audible sign of what's coming. It's pretty incredible. But let's turn it back to football for a moment, and just a couple of more quick football questions, and we'll get into the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Tony Romo was just offered $14 million to join ESPN, to join Monday Night Football as their color guy. Who was your favorite broadcasting team as far as NFL football?
You change. I have an answer for you, but you change it for NFL football, man. I don't have a favorite. I really don't. None of these guys. I don't like Buck. Buck is, well, I guess my bias from Buck bleeds over from MLB because he's very anti-Yankee. If you don't know that, shame on you.
He's anti-Cub as well. Every time the Bears play the Packers, I'm like, oh well, is he going to have? Are they going to have Aaron Rodgers, dick in their mouth the whole time? Because that's all they do is kiss up to Aaron Rodgers every time the Packers play. I'm so glad this wasn't we're not having a State Farm Super Bowl with Rodgers and Mahomes. I will definitely say that Jack Buck and Troy Aikman, they're my least favorite. I think Chris Collinsworth does an amazing job, but I will tell you this: I really like Tony Romo, and I tell you why I like Tony Romo, because
it's your show.
He's living the.
I hope you do.
It seems like yes, thank you. It seems like he is kind of living vicariously through what is going on the field. He really seems to be enjoying himself. I thought Chucky was the same way when he was in the broadcast booth. You could tell that when he's talking about football, he's in his happy place. And that's kind of what I get from Tony Romo.
Well, I'm with Gruden, so knock on wood if you're with me. But with Romo, you're right. Enthusiastic into it. He doesn't shut up. He's like that guy who's on a little bit too much coke and just doesn't shut up after a while. It's like, all right, this guy's got some fun stuff to say, but then the novelty wears off. You're like, all right, guy, just put a cork in it for a little bit.
Right.
A little too chatty for my liking is my point. He's fine. Maybe when he has a few more seasons in it, and he kind of gets coached up from the other people. Hey, you know what? You don't have to say. You can let the game sit silent for a few seconds. You don't have to fill the silence void. Once he realizes that, I think he'll get better. He's fine right now, but I don't have a team that really stands out. I mean, Madden and Summerall, just for the goof factor, was fun. I also liked. I hated Jerry Glanville because every time there was a close first down, he would take the telestrator and count the number of chain links. Like, oh, we're about a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 chain links away from a first down. He was king of Captain Obvious, so I'm very glad he's no longer doing NFL games. So,
well, a lot of people thought that John Madden was the king of Captain Obvious, but he changed he changed sports broadcasting. I mean, he's a legend, but again, he was also someone who was very enthusiastic about it. So you're saying for Tony Romo, we need somewhere between Pat Summerall, who just let the pictures do the talking, and Tony Romo, who will never shut up.
Yeah, Pat Summerall and the Gin doing the talking. Don't forget that.
That's true. It was a different time, Kevin. It was a different time.
When time, it was a simpler time, as Adam Kroll likes to say.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I think it'd be better off with that. I would say my favorite broadcast period would be. I love Matt Vasgersian. I'd kill if he came to the Yes Network for the Yankees. I used to love Dwayne Cott and Tony Kubek for MSG Network for the Yankees. God, so I'm dating myself, right? Late 80s, early 90s. That's probably my favorite broadcast team. But I love Vasgersian right now for ESPN. I don't like the two people who are in the booth with them. Jessica Mendoza is awful. So let's just get that out of the way.
I kind of haven't quite figured that one out yet, what they're trying to do there.
Oh, I have. It's called checking the box.
Well,
in many different ways.
Yes, but you know what? You can check the box. For example, I thought Robin Roberts was one of the greatest female sportscasters of all time. And
she's great.
And news anchors, and of all time. So you can check the box with great talent. You don't have to check the box with just a hot chick.
And she's not hot.
Okay. Well, whatever.
I just
after
like
a couple of Jamesons,
talking about baseball. That's one thing I'm just like, nah. If you want to have her do other things, sure, no problem with that. But it's just, I when it comes to color, I don't. It's very obviously a very similar sport, but I'd rather have a baseball player in there. Have a woman do play-by-play. That's fine, but not. I'm not crazy about her.
And Matt Vasgersian, I just can't. Every time I hear Matt Vasgersian, I see him and Jesse Ventura doing XFL games together. I can't get it out of my head.
I never really got into XFL, so that's not been a problem for me. Every time you hear Matt Vasgersian, because they play MLB The Show on PlayStation, it's just, great.
Oh, right.
And he's just so effortless in his delivery. I love his delivery with baseball. He's fantastic at it. And again, I wish it was him instead of, Pumpkinhead Michael Kay for the Yankees.
One more quick football question for you before we head into the Super Bowl. And I asked you on my WGN show a little while ago where Tom Brady was going to play next year. And you said, well, let's wait and see what happens. I'm sure that none of us saw him losing in the wild card round. But
I did bet Tennessee plus the points, but I didn't say they're going to lose. But you're right. I get your point. You're right. I think LA could very well be the play. He sold a house in Massachusetts, got a house in Connecticut. That doesn't mean anything. Supposedly he's selling his place in New York as well, supposedly. So we'll see. I think LA could be a place. I don't know why though. Why LA? Just because of Giselle and LA, the atmosphere and everything else. Why would they get rid of an old quarterback to put an older one in there? We all know they're going to go in the draft and they're going to have a highest pick, and hopefully they can maybe trade with the Giants, and the Giants can get a few more picks in there. So that way the Chargers can trade up at number 4 and get a quarterback, and then maybe have Brady mentor. But who else is looking for a quarterback of that age, and willing to sign exactly of that age? Who's going to sign an old quarterback?
Well, no one's ever looking for a quarterback of that age, but that is Tom Brady, and he's going to put asses in the seats. That's one. If you end up drafting a quarterback, they can end up being mentored by Brady. That's 2. And it's L.A., and it would be the Tom and Giselle show.
I hear you, but here's the problem with L.A. L.A., the player, are you allowed to curse on this? They don't give a you-know-what about anything else but the Lakers and Dodgers. I mean, they have a football stadium in there that held 40,000 people? Did that sell out? No, it did not. Not at all. They lost the Raiders how many times? Football, not big in that town unless it's USC. So I don't know if Tom Brady's going to put a lot of asses in seats. That's the only thing. And they have a brand new stadium next year. What's he doubled in size almost? Do you think that 30,000 extra people are going to come and see Tom Brady?
Well,
probably not.
The thing is, though, they like what's hot. I mean, the Kings became a hot ticket when they got Gretzky. They still weren't a very good team, but they had Gretzky.
They had Luke Robitaille and other guys on there. They are an already made machine. Gretzky just put them over the top.
Well, then if not L.A., then where? If he's not coming, if he's not coming back to the Patriots, then and it's not L.A., then where? He's not going to Cincinnati.
How about Indianapolis? They're on the cusp. They almost made the playoffs. Jacoby Brissett's not the answer. They already said that at the end of the year he's not the answer. They've got a great running back. They've got a solid wide receiver. They've got a very good defense. And they're built to run that ball. Again, look at Marlon Mack when he plays. He's healthy. They run. I think Indianapolis could be a very good fit for Tom Brady, too. The question is, does he want to go to the Hoosier State? And being from there, thankfully my parents had the good sense to move when I was young. I don't know if he wants to go there. I don't know if Giselle wants to go live and hang out in Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis, right. Well, I mean, if he goes to L.A., it's not like he's going to L.A. to win. I mean, he'll say he's going to L.A. to win, but
right.
I mean, it's a Peyton Manning kind of thing. You want to end up going someplace where you have a chance to win one more time, but you also have to go someplace that's good enough where you're not going to end up on your back 15 times a game, because he can ill afford to do that at that age if he wants to play for another 3 more years. We'll see.
I completely agree. Again, I think the Colts, again, great offensive line, great defensive line. He doesn't have to do that much. Just make some throws. Although, in the end, I really do think the Patriots are going to say, you know what, we got to pay him off. Let him go off in the sunset, maybe give him a year deal or 2-year deal, and just start planning for the future. He's not. The problem is he wasn't Brady anymore. He's not Brady anymore. We know that. The problem, though, is they don't have, the running game wasn't as stellar, and the wide receivers were hot trash, and they had 0 tight ends. 0 tight ends. So if they go out, they get a few key players, either free agency or draft, but then that leaves the question of Brady. Is he going to hold him for a king's ransom? He didn't in the past because his wife made $100 million a year, so that was never a problem. And that's what made the Patriots able to win all these Super Bowls, to get all these key players. But now the question is, again, does he say, you know what, I'm cashing my chips in, I want to get paid? And if not, well, pack your bags, L.A., Indy. That's it. Again, I'm very hard-pressed to think of somebody who hasn't paid. I mean, Jacksonville, they just gave Foles a bunch of money, but he's not proving out to be the answer. Carolina, they just took Will Greer. You don't know. Cam Newton's a big question mark. Detroit, Matt Stafford's a question mark. Does he want to go to these cities? Probably not. So that leaves Indianapolis as the team with the best chances of competing, or the Chargers for just 85 and sunny every day with earthquakes and homeless people.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. And fish tacos. I guess it really is. It really is going to be all up to him, really, and what he wants. Because I doubt if the Patriots are going to want to empty out a wheelbarrow of money for a 43, 44-year-old quarterback, however old he is. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. Kevin Gootee is our guest. Yes.
The only let's we're going to wind this up. The only problem, though, is if they do that, the Patriots know they don't have that hammerlock on the AFC East anymore. Buffalo came knocking at the door big time, although they came up very, they blew a lead late. And the Jets, although 7-9, have made strides. There are a few wide receivers away and a tight end away from getting over that 8-8 hump. So that AFC East is not and the Dolphins have gotten better too. Hell, they beat them outright the last week of the season.
Right.
So the Dolphins can get a few more wins. That AFC East is not a runaway division anymore. So if he does take the money, they're not going to be able to get those key players, and very well run the risk of finishing second in that division, maybe.
Interesting. I wonder. It's there's a little bit of like Phil Jackson in Bill Belichick. Oh, and by the way, they cheated again. By the way, this is about the 3rd time they've been caught cheating.
Yeah.
By the way, everyone seems to forget that. Kevin Gootee is our guest. Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber is his show. It is live on Facebook. You can check it out. You can also go to kevingootee.com, Gootee, kevingootee.com, and you can hear all about his ventures. When we come back, yes, we will talk Super Bowl 54, the Chiefs and the 49ers. If you're going to put money down on this game, you need to listen up because my guy's hot. He's going to give you the good stuff. Back in a minute on Roker Radio.
Do you have a question or a comment? Send us an email to alrokerjr@prodigy.net. Now, once again, here's Uncle Al.
Welcome back, Roker Radio, here with Kevin Gootee from Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber, and the time has come. We're going to talk Super Bowl 54, and you've been hot lately. I was hurting after that first week. After that first week of the NFL playoffs, I was hurting. I got back a little bit, made something on the LSU game and last week, couple of weeks ago, but now. Early line, Super Bowl, Chiefs are a 1.5-point favorite. The over-under is 53. Thoughts?
So I like, unless the number jumps out or I have just a clear gut reaction, like last year after the Patriots won, so there's no way they're losing the Super Bowl, and I immediately put a hell of a lot of money down. Even my wife jumped in on the action, and we both cashed the Patriots. My gut reaction is I like the Chiefs, but I think I need to hear more and let it kick around in my stomach a bit here. The only thing that scares me about taking the Chiefs is that their run defense stinks. And what do the Niners do? They run the ball non-stop. I mean, Mostert had over 200 yards, 150 at the half, which is disgusting. So and they have a very obviously good defense. Now the Niners gave up points, don't get it wrong. They had a lot of it was done after they were blowing them out, making Aaron Rodgers look silly. But I want to think the Chiefs are going to win only because two things. One, if they're down, who's a faster, quick strike offense than the Kansas City Chiefs? Answer, no one.
Right.
Actually, three things. If the Chiefs get up, I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo orchestrating drives anywhere near like Mahomes can. So the Chiefs get up early, man, that's going to be a problem for the Niners. And three, as Mad Dog Russo says, what I love, sometimes it's just some team's time. And I think it's Andy Reid's time. He's been the bridesmaid how many times now? Gotten a one Super Bowl, loss. In fact, that was the only time I ever root for the Patriots was against the Eagles because I'll root for Al Qaeda before I root for the Eagles. Trust me. I hate them. Oh, boy. That was a tough Super Bowl. The Patriots and the Eagles, two teams I just wanted a meteor to fall from the heavens.
Right, exactly. Well,
but I think it really is Andy Reid's time. He should have been there last year. If D4 doesn't jump offside, it's him and the Rams, and I think they handle the Rams. But I think it's Andy Reid's time. I need more time to sit and let facts mull over and go through some stats. I can understand why people want to take the Niners. The number, the good thing about the number right now being 1.5 is that it's not near a key number yet. If it was getting around 2.5, I'd probably have to fire in right now just to save it for the 3. But right now, since it's at 1, I mean, there's a chance to get to pick them, which would be nice. That way you could throw a money line bet down instead of laying the juice. Or, God forbid, if you even got to the Niners +1, I could then even throw a teaser down, take it to a Chiefs +7 and really feel comfortable about that, especially if they could backdoor if they're down.
Well,
I think the over is a little bit high, but I'll never go under on the Chiefs ever. Because of they could put up 30 blink of an eye.
I made that mistake. I made that mistake 2 weeks in a row. By the way,
did you really? I debated about going over yesterday, but I was afraid that the Titans were going to play too much ball control again because of the Chiefs' lack of run defense. But they actually did shut down Derrick Henry, and by shut down, I mean only 67 or whatever it was yards and a touchdown. I expected that game to be tighter and more ball control for the Titans. But it just didn't obviously turn out that way.
Well, that's exactly why I took the under on the Titans and Kansas City, because I figured that they knew the only way that they were going to win that AFC Championship game was to feed them a steady diet of Henry and also keep Mahomes and that offense off the field. Now, you talk about the Super Bowl, and it's definitely it's kind of a head versus heart game. Because everybody's rooting for Andy Reid. Everybody is. There's nobody that doesn't like Andy Reid. So your first instinct is to go with the Chiefs just because of Andy Reid's angle. And then also, as soon as the Patriots lost in that wild card game, you had to be thinking that Andy Reid has to be thinking, this is my path. I don't have to go through the Patriots. This is my path. And then Baltimore loses. I mean, this is his year. If it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen this year for Andy Reid. There's no question about it. But again,
100% agree. Absolutely agree.
If the 49ers can get out to a lead and run the ball, which is what I was. But, of course, the Titans got out to a lead and just got blown up. So, and that offense is so quick strike. I've never seen. And by the way, being a Chicagoan, it's been really great the last few weeks watching Deshaun Watson get sandwiched by two defensive linemen, pop up, roll out, and hit a target, or watch Patrick Mahomes scramble around and then tippy-toe down the sidelines for a 30-yard touchdown, while we sit here and watch Mitchell Trubisky eye one receiver instead of going through his progressions. And I mean, it's been a tough playoffs to watch from a Chicagoan's point of view, Kevin.
I hear you. Yeah. Giants could have had him too. Giants took Barkley instead. So, oopsie-doozy. Yeah, I hear you.
So, I mean,
I don't know why you guys love him so much, but you're stuck with him for a couple more years at least, right?
Why us guys? I mean, you mean Ryan Pace? Ryan Pace, the general manager of the Bears, obviously love this guy. To trade up from 3 to 2 to get him means they obviously saw something in this guy, which worries me about his talent evaluation skills, because no one was asking for Mitch Trubisky in 2019 to be great. All we were asking was for him to be better. We weren't asking him to turn into Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes overnight. We just wanted to see a progression. We just wanted to see him get better. And he didn't. Right. So now we have no idea what to expect next year. None whatsoever. And then if he's not the guy, then who is the guy? Who can you go out and get? I digress.
Tom Brady.
Hey, right. You think Tom Brady's going to like well, I guess it's cold in New England too. But I take Tom. I would take Tom Brady for 2 years, as long as we drafted somebody for him to mentor. I don't know. I don't even know, or who knows? Maybe he can mentor Mitch Trubisky. I don't know. Whatever. But back to the Super Bowl. You know, I think I'm leaning on the Chiefs. Their offense has been so impressive these last 2 games. So impressive. And now they're going to be most likely in good weather in Miami. Great weather. I mean, the only time it rains in Miami was when the Bears were in the Super Bowl. But
oh my God, the monsoon! I'll never forget that.
I won't forget that either. But that 49ers defense, man, kicks ass.
It does. It's great. And, again, it's just amazing how they can run the ball right down your throats. And actually, it's funny. I got a prop on the podcast I listened to, and it hit again. Jimmy G under completions was like, it dropped. It was from like 22.5 to 20 or something like that. And now, and how many times did he throw the ball yesterday? 8?
He threw the ball stupid. 8 times in the NFC Championship game. 8 times. Is that even possible?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was possible and happened. So I think if you're looking to do a prop already, it'd be Jimmy G under completions, unless they make it near 10 completions. You want to go under. Okay, but what if they're down 21 points? That's the difference. Well, then you're in trouble. They were putting the boot on the Packers if it's 21-10 at the half, he's going to have to start throwing the ball. Do you think that they'll be down 21-10 at the half? I don't know what to think, Kevin. That's why I have you on. I need you to do the thinking for me. I don't think they're going to get blown out early. That is for sure. I really don't. So again, that's a prop. Again, it's all about the number. If it's right around 10, I would stay away from it. But if they say, let's keep it around 20 again, that'd be a good bet to take. So you would say if it's pass attempts,
You're talking about pass attempts for
completion. No, completions.
Okay, completions 20. You would take the under on that. I kind of like that. What about that point spread? You still going with the Chiefs? You think?
I'm gonna let it see where it bounces around. It's not been pounded yet, so I want to see again. If they start getting around 2.5, I'll jump Chiefs before it gets to 3. I'm hoping that maybe it gets to a pick 'em, and then I could even get cute with the teaser and go, like I said, Chiefs +6, and take the over/under down to 47. So that's something I would be interested in doing as well. But yeah, I think I'm going to wait it out, see, and just again take in more data. But right now, if you wanted to grab the Chiefs +1.5, I see no problem with that.
And I've been burned on the under with the Chiefs. Their last 2 games. Boy, I never quite know what to think with these Super Bowls, because I always think going into it, all right, teams are going to be nervous coming out. It's going to be a slow first quarter, low-scoring first quarter, because they're trying to get the nerves, settled down a little bit. But the way this Chiefs offense has just struck back, I mean, they're consistently like racking up like 2.5-minute touchdown drives. I mean, they just can run the score up so quickly. It's like I just don't know what to think. I guess I guess I would have to be, if I lost on that under twice in a row, I guess I'd be a fool to take it again.
I mean, unless you're to tease it up, but I would very much. It's over or pass for anybody. Really wanted to. That's something else. And here's another one. Fact. This is an absolute fact from a lot of Super Bowls past. Another thing you could bet: what quarter is the most scoring going to occur? Third quarter by far. Third quarter, it's hit. I don't know how many years in a row, because people go out. They have a lot more time in halftime to make the adjustments, draw up some plays, even gamble a little bit more. Remember the Saints with their onside kicks when they were down to start the half.
Right.
I always take that third quarter as the highest scoring quarter in the game.
So you don't have a problem with prop bets if they're researched properly. You don't see them as a sucker bet.
No, not at all. In fact, last year my biggest prop bet, and I thought it was amazingly, I forgot what the number was, but it was so low. It was Julian Edelman catches. No, it was yards. I think I took yards and catches, and it was low. I go, what are you kidding me? This guy's if you do fantasy football, he's a PPR machine, and that's Brady's guy. And I think by middle of the third quarter, he had both locked up for me already. So if you know who goes where and what the plays are, it's the only problem. Like with rushing, though, with San Fran, they alternate too many guys in. So I'd be a little bit leery trying to figure out who the head guy is going to be. Now, if Kevin Coleman's out, that's going to be good news for Mostert, but they have Breida in there, so it'll only be a 2-horse committee. But if Kevin Coleman plays, man, it's going to be real hard to figure out who's going to get all the yards on the ground for the Niners. So that's something you got to be careful about. That's true. And then again, if they're down by 14, well, there goes the run game. It'll be interesting to see. You had just mentioned how they have and that's interesting. I had never thought about that. The quarter and where the most points are going to be scored third quarter. And yes, that's an extra long halftime. They have plenty of time to make adjustments. How's that halftime show working out for you? Shakira and J-Lo? Yeah, no, it works out that I go refill my cocktails and talk to my friends for a good 30 minutes and give 2 craps about what's going on.
I know. I mean, are they scissoring? If they are, I'll watch that. But if they're singing, not so much.
Yeah, I don't think so. Although J-Lo looks fantastic and they both look fantastic. Who's kidding who? But they're both. That's not on my radar. I haven't sat down to watch it. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time there was a halftime show, period. But it's, God, I think the last halftime show I remember because someone said something was the Janet Jackson one.
Oh, that's
her boob.
That's going way back. Quick story. I was at the UFC Super Bowl party that year, and it was at Green Valley Ranch just outside of Vegas. And I am standing.
Yeah, I heard of it.
Yeah, I'm standing there with Dana White, the president of the USC, and he goes, "Did you just see that? Did you just see that? Janet Jackson." He goes, Justin Timberlake just whipped Janet Jackson's tit out. I'm like, no, he didn't. And we were broadcasting from Vegas the next morning, and that next morning it was the biggest story on earth. I'm like, wow, I'm usually pretty good at catching that kind of stuff, but it was Dana White that told me about
which one was it? Was it the Carolina Patriots one?
That was, it might have been, no, well, it had to have been the one, their first one, right? Maybe 2001?
No, I think it was a little late. I think it was a few years after than that one.
It was before 2005, but it was in the early 2000s. I can't really remember. That's sad right. That I don't remember.
While you do that, I'll look it up.
I don't remember anything about the game. That's what I remember. I remember the wardrobe malfunction. Yes, that's the last time you paid attention to a Super Bowl halftime show.
Right, exactly.
Would you dare to? And I appreciate your time. Would you dare do any early predictions for next year? What do you think our Bears are going to do next year?
Oh my! It's way too early. I need to see free agents. I need to see draft. Hell, I even need to see a schedule before I do that. I mean, how many wins did you guys have this year? I went under 9, like I said. How many did you guys have?
No,
7?
I think we ended up 8-8 because we won that last game. Yeah, okay. We won that last game against Minnesota.
I would say expect the same. Yeah, unless you go out and make a splash in free agency. I don't know where you guys are on the. I guess if you're 8-8, it'll pretty much put you at what, 16, 17 for the draft.
Yeah, we don't have any draft picks. We gave those away for Khalil Mack. The Raiders have our draft picks. I don't think we have a pick to the third.
Well, then I would say you might be a little. Well, yeah, I might be a little less than that one. Maybe 7, 9, 8, 8. But yeah, maybe you go out there and you get a. Excuse me. You get a few key free agents.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you're winning, you see everything through rose-colored glasses, and then you end up having a year like the Bears had this past year, and then you start to see all the little cracks in the foundation. You start to see that they've got a crappy offensive line. They can't run the ball. They can't run block. They've got no tight ends. They don't have any of the tools to run that Matt Nagy / Andy Reid type of offense. Yeah,
no, you're right. It's here you go. Here's your answer. Yep, I was right. Carolina and New England. I'll remember that forever because I had the under in the score at the halftime, 0-0. And what happened? The second half became a pinball game, and I lost.
Oh no. Oh no! Well, I've been getting screwed.
I remember that again. That was I was counting the money in half. I think it was like 50 something. I'm counting. Oh, again, it's 0-0. I'm like, I'm counting the money. That's it. 0-0. Can't get any better. And then bing, 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 and bang! I was out a good chunk.
Tearing your hair out over that one. How if it
You're
weren't,
not kidding.
Think about all of the nice things that we could have, Kevin, if it weren't for Super Bowl Sunday and March Madness. If we didn't have those distractions in our lives, think of what we could accomplish.
Well, I think people would be more on Facebook just arguing about politics and nonsense and asking what color is that, blue or gold? Nonsense like that.
You're right. This is more fun. This is definitely more fun than doing all the stupid stuff that they're doing on social media now. Well, listen, Kevin, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your info. It seems like, so if we were to leave here with a best bet at this juncture, you're saying 20 pass if you can get 20 or under on Garoppolo completions, take that prop bet.
Sure.
And if you can find the prop bet on the quarter in which the most
The quarters?
points.
No. The quarters is an easy one to get, a very easy one to get. So I would take the quarters. I love that one. Lock it up. The quarters one is I love that prop every year, and I couldn't tell you the last time it missed. So I love the third quarter is the highest scoring quarter.
I love it. I'll go to the window with that one.
Fantastic. Well, I love this. There's one more thing I want to just throw in there real fast, guys. If you're fans of the films and comedians talking about films, I do a podcast called Gutting the Sacred Cow, where we invite comedians on to talk about the films that they hate, that are widely loved or successful or just beloved, and their job is to take down those films and argue why they stink or are overrated. And you can catch Gutting the Sacred Cow on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, virtually any place you can find podcasts. Our last episode, Joe Fernandez did The Sixth Sense, which I hated, so it wasn't that hard of an argument for him to make. And then look for Castaways coming up next week, and then Pulp Fiction following week after. So give that a listen.
Pulp Fiction. So let me get this straight. So what's the name of it again, Ken?
It's called Gutting, Gutting, Gutting the Sacred Cow. Yeah, Pulp Fiction is my second favorite film of all time, Caddyshack being one. My friend and producer for actually Comics Watching Comics, Lynette Palladino, she hates Pulp Fiction. She's going to come and try and argue to my co-host and I, Kevin Israel, why she thinks that film stinks. And we've had a lot of film people come in right now and talk about films that would knock your socks off. In fact, I'll give you a few highlights. One guy came in and attempted to do Star Wars. He lost poorly.
Okay.
My friend Movita did Rocky. One guy did Godfather Part 2. Another did Inception, Wolf of Wall Street, Batman Begins. Yeah, so people were going early. I think Rocky, Spaceballs. Jeff Paul went after Spaceballs. So it's a lot of people don't like some of these famous films. And some of these films we don't like. We'll agree with you on. But some of them, I know Pulp Fiction, again, poor Lynette Palladino is going to have a hell of a time with that one, again, as that's my second favorite film of all time.
That's gonna be a tough one. I love this concept. I every time I watch Scarface, I say to myself, why is he finding out? He goes, oh, my little league team won the championship today. It's 2:00 in the morning. Who's he talking to? He's the coach of the Little League team, by the way. This is right when Scarface goes in and kills Robert Loggia. Oh, if you haven't seen sorry, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Scarface, it's only been out for 34 years. But I love that concept.
I don't like that film. And that was an easy no for me for Chris to come in and say that.
Who didn't like Wolf of Wall Street?
About, the films they hate.
Who didn't like Wolf of Wall Street?
What was that?
Who didn't like Wolf of Wall Street?
I love Wolf of Wall Street. I love that film.
Dude, I know women that love that film.
He says it drags. He actually made some good points about some of the plot points. It was a few months ago that he did it, so I wish I had better answers to why he didn't like it. I think length and it was too much for too long, and the fact of too much testosterone, like rage, coke, banging horse stuff for 3 hours is too much. Like it peaks and valleys, but not. You don't need to be at a 10 for 3 hours. Was his point?
Scorsese, he's like Michael Mann. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to make a short movie. Like Kubrick. These people don't know how to make movies that are less than 3 hours long.
I don't have a problem if they're 3 hours. I just have a problem if they're edited poorly and they just drag. I mean, JFK is one of my favorites, and that's 3.5 hours long almost.
Oh, wait,
that film's fantastic.
Have you seen the director's cut? It's still going on.
No, I won't. I don't want to do 4 hours plus of it, but I'll take the 3 hours, 3.5 that he gave us.
Well, Kevin, let's quickly do just a quick rundown. So, Garoppolo 20 completions or under. Take that. Third quarter, that'll be the quarter that has the most scores on it. Football Jibber Jabber, Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber. Comics Watching Comics on Amazon. And then, what's the other one?
You said Jibber Jabber, Comics Watching Comics, and Gutting the Sacred Cow, the podcast.
Gutting the Sacred Cow. I love it. Kevin Gootee, thank you so much, brother. always great to talk to you. You are a blast, and hopefully we can make some money so we have some money to play with in March.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this again after the Super Bowl, perhaps, and have like a recap if you wanted to as well.
There you go. See, I like that. That's a man who stands behind his convictions. He's willing to come back after the games and stand up on what he is on the predictions that he's made. I like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate it, brother.
Man. Oh, listen now. Thanks again for having me, buddy. I always appreciate our chat. Thanks again for the airtime.
Dude, it's my pleasure. Have a great Super Bowl Sunday, a safe one, and make a lot of money.
You as well, man. Good luck.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Ken. Talk to you later. Have a good one.
Take it easy.
All right.
Kevin Gootee, Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber, and also Amazon's Comics Watching Comics, and also slaying the sacred beast there as they kind of rip apart some of your favorite movies on his podcast. He's a great guy, and he knows his stuff, so I'm going to go to the window on a couple of his picks. I'm not sure about I think I'm going to go with the over. The over is 53. I've been burned on the under with the Kansas City Chiefs the last two games. I'm going to go with the over. Not sure if I'm going to do anything with the point spread, but I do like, and I hadn't thought about that one, and I usually don't even look at prop bets when it comes to the Super Bowl. Usually don't even look at prop bets, but I like that prop bet where it's the quarter where the most points are scored. Third quarter, he says it happens every year. It's a lock. I like it. I'm going to go with it. I like that very much. And also, they say if you can get 20 completions, less than 20 completions from Jimmy Garoppolo, take that one as well. So I'm going to do that. If you do that, please let me know how it turns out for you. As always, thank you so much for joining me on Roker Radio. Go to alrokerjr.com. Check me out on social at Al Roker Jr., Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Leave me a message. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to hear. Got some special stuff coming up in 2020. Don't want to spill the beans just yet, but we should have some really, really fun stuff coming up in this new year. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you can go to alrokerjr.com and listen. You go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, and listen to Roker Radio as well. Have a happy Super Bowl Sunday. Win some money. Go whomever you want to win. Not necessarily the Chiefs or the 49ers, although I'm kind of in for Andy Reid. All right. Talk to you next time. Peace.